When I was 14, my best friend Tyler invited me to a sleepover at his cousin's house. It wasn't supposed to be anything special. Just 5 guys, a stack of horror movies, too much pizza, and an entire Saturday night with no parents. If someone had told me I'd spend the next 12 hours questioning whether I'd make it home alive, I never would have gone. Tyler's cousin Mason lived about 45 minutes outside town. His family had inherited a huge 2-story farmhouse surrounded by thick woods. The nearest neighbor was nearly half a mile away. When my mom dropped me off around 6 in the evening, the first thing I noticed was how quiet it was. Not peaceful, empty. No birds, no dogs barking, just wind moving through dead trees. Mason laughed when he saw me staring into the woods. Pretty creepy, huh? I shrugged. It'll look better in daylight. He didn't answer. Inside were Tyler, Mason, Noah, and Chris. The basement had been turned into a giant game room. Old couches, pool table, arcade cabinet, big TV. Everything a middle school kid could dream of. We spent hours playing games, stuffing ourselves with pizza. Around 10, someone suggested ghost stories. Terrible idea. Naturally, everyone agreed. Mason waited until everyone had settled down before speaking. My grandpa always said one room upstairs stays locked. Tyler rolled his eyes. Here we go. No, seriously. He pointed toward the ceiling. 2nd floor, end of the hallway. Why? My great-grandmother died in there. Chris laughed. Everyone dies somewhere. Mason shook his head. Not like this. Now we were paying attention. According to Mason, his great-grandmother had lived alone in the house after her husband died. Neighbors claimed she'd become different. She spent hours talking to someone inside the locked bedroom, even though no one else lived there. Eventually, relatives forced the door open. She was sitting in the corner smiling, completely alone. She only said one sentence before dying a week later. He's still hiding under the bed. Silence filled the basement. Then Tyler burst out laughing. Dude, that's such fake horror movie garbage. Mason didn't laugh. My parents don't let anyone sleep upstairs. Of course, 10 minutes later, we were all upstairs. The hallway looked older than the rest of the house. Wallpaper peeled off the walls. The air smelled damp. At the very end sat an old wooden door. Unlike every other room, this one had an iron lock. Chris grinned. Let's open it. It doesn't have a key. Mason looked uncomfortable. My dad keeps it somewhere. Tyler jiggled the knob. Locked. Guess that's that. We started walking away, then something knocked. From inside. 3 slow knocks. Everyone froze. Chris whispered, "One of you idiots is messing around." Nobody moved. Another knock. Closer this time. Like someone had walked across the room before knocking. Noah actually laughed. Old houses settle. We all wanted to believe him. Then the doorknob turned. Slowly, left, right, trying to open. No one said a word. We sprinted downstairs. By midnight, we convinced ourselves we'd imagined everything. Movies helped. Video games helped. Eventually, everyone spread sleeping bags across the basement floor. The light stayed on, just in case. I woke around 2:30. At first, I didn't know why. Then I heard footsteps above us. Slow, heavy, walking across the upstairs hallway. Tyler was awake too. You hear that? I nodded. The footsteps continued. Back and forth, like someone pacing. Then they stopped. Directly above us. Silence. A loud thud. Something heavy hit the floor. Chris sat upright. What was that? Another thud. Then, dragging. Something enormous scraping across the hardwood. Towards the stairs. Mason whispered, "My parents aren't home." We all knew that. They had left for the weekend. His older brother was supposed to stop by later that morning. We were completely alone. Or, we thought we were. The dragging stopped, then came footsteps, descending the staircase, one step at a time. Nobody breathed. The basement door slowly creaked open. Nothing. The doorway was empty. Tyler forced a laugh. "Dude." No answer. He grabbed a flashlight. "I'll check." Worst decision ever. 3 of us followed. Mason refused to leave the basement. Chris kept calling out, "Hello?" No response. The first floor looked normal. Kitchen, living room, dining room, empty. We checked every room. Nothing. Finally, Tyler sighed. "Told you." As we turned back, I noticed muddy footprints. Fresh ones, leading towards the stairs. Bare feet, way too large to belong to any of us. They climbed the staircase, not down it, up. Chris frowned. Those weren't there earlier. Tyler started climbing after them. I wish we'd stopped him. The footprints led directly to the locked room, then stopped. No prints leading away, only towards the door, like whoever made them walked into solid wood. Tyler reached for the doorknob. The lock clicked by itself. The door slowly opened. The room smelled rotten. Dust floated everywhere. Old furniture sat covered by sheets. A cracked mirror leaned against one wall. There was only one thing that looked untouched. The bed. Its blankets were perfectly neat, like someone had made it that morning. Chris whispered, "Guys." He pointed underneath. Something moved. Not fast, just enough. Like someone slowly pulling their hand back into darkness. Tyler laughed nervously. "Nope." He backed away. Then we heard breathing, deep, wet, coming from beneath the bed. The flashlight flickered. The breathing stopped. Then a voice, soft, old. "Come closer." We ran. No hesitation, no screaming, pure survival. As we reached the hallway, the bedroom door slammed behind us hard enough to shake the walls. Then every light in the house went out. Darkness, complete darkness. Someone grabbed my arm. I screamed. It was Noah. "Front door!" We stumbled downstairs. The front door wouldn't open. The deadbolt twisted. Nothing, like something on the other side, held it shut. Then we heard it again, dragging across the floor, toward the stairs, much faster now. The staircase creaked. 1 step, 2, 3, but we couldn't see anything, only hear it coming. Closer, closer, closer. Then, silence. I turned on my phone flashlight. Nothing. The staircase was empty. Tyler whispered, "Don't move." A voice answered from directly behind us. "Found you." We all spun around. Nobody. But my flashlight landed on something that made my stomach drop. Wet footprints, appearing one by one across the wooden floor, as if invisible feet were walking towards us. One footprint, then another, closer, closer, until they stopped less than 3 feet away. Chris screamed. The invisible thing lunged. Something slammed into the wall, hard. He hit the floor unconscious. We dragged him outside by smashing a window with a chair. The moment we climbed through, the front door unlocked by itself. We didn't stop running until we reached the road. A passing truck picked us up nearly 20 minutes later. The driver called the police. They searched the farmhouse before sunrise. No intruder, no broken locks, nothing stolen, nothing unusual, except the upstairs bedroom. The bed had been moved across the room. Heavy scrape marks covered the floor. Underneath, police found hundreds and thousands of scratches carved into the woods. Thousands, maybe, all facing outward, as if something trapped beneath the bed had spent years trying to claw their way out. Mason's parents sold the farmhouse 6 months later. The new owners renovated everything. They even removed the upstairs bedroom entirely. At least, that's what people say. Last year, curiosity got the better of me. I looked up the property line. The listing included updated photos, beautiful kitchen, new roof, fresh paint. Everything looked completely different, except one picture, the upstairs hallway. At the very end, there was a door, the same old wooden door, the same iron lock, exactly where it had always been, even though the room supposedly doesn't exist anymore. Sometimes I wonder if the house was never haunted. Maybe whatever lived under that bed was only hiding, waiting for another sleepover. And if you ever spend the night in an unfamiliar house, if someone tells you one room stays locked, don't be the person to open it, because some doors aren't meant to keep people out. They're meant to keep something inside.